Just Like Us, for LGBT young people.
Hello, and welcome to the monthly Just Like Us podcast discussing what it's like to be LGBT+. I'm Ellie, I'm 23 now. It's been my birthday since last podcast episode. I'm non-binary and bisexual, so I get two of the letters of LGBT+. And I'm here with my two lovely co-hosts.
Yeah, hi, my name is Isaac, and I'm a trans man, and I volunteer for Just Like Us.
Hey guys, it's Arbër. I'm 22, from London. I'm bisexual, and yeah, I'm a co-host.
So what have you guys been up to this month?
Well, as this month has been an interesting one, I'm not working, I'm not at uni, so obviously the options have been playing video games, eating, and sleeping, and I have been doing copious amounts of all three.
Well, similar to Isaac, I've just been literally staying at home. Well, I'm working from home, so it's a bit preoccupying my time, a bit better, but literally just getting through Netflix and Disney+. That's literally what I've been doing.
Oh yeah, Disney Plus has dropped at just the right time, hasn't it?
The two things that I'm hearing non-stop about are Disney Plus and Animal Crossing for the Switch. Those two things dropping have taken over the world.
I feel like we should say, just in case anyone's listening to this not at the time of release, coronavirus means that we're all staying at home, and that's why we're all talking about this and like not going outside and everything. I sure thought that should be clear.
Yeah.
You're listening to Just Like Us, the monthly show for LGBT young people.
So what are we talking about this week, Arbër?
Today we're speaking about what it's like to be an LGBT plus person and being at home during this very difficult time. And we've brought Isaac here today. He's one of our co-hosts as well, just to tell us his experience in growing up in an environment that's not necessarily very LGBT accepting. So take us off with it. What's difficult about being in that kind of space?
I mean, the difficult part about it is kind of feeling like you have absolutely no control whatsoever, or feeling like you're under somebody else's thumb, and when that's somebody else's family as well, it introduces a whole other power dynamic of I don't get to choose when I come and go. Like I don't get any say over how I'm treated, and that, at least in my experience when I was still at home, was the hardest part. And while that wasn't self-isolation, and while that wasn't, you know, me having to be there because nobody can go outside, it was still really, really intense. And that is why I kind of draw on those experiences that I had to understand how it must feel for LGBT people, LGBT young people in particular, who are in that position now and cannot escape. And obviously their family aren't leaving the house either, are they? It's difficult for everybody, but especially for those people I have a lot of empathy for.
I can really relate to what you're saying. What really kind of irritates me is like subtle kind of forms of homophobia. It will be like the smirks and, you know, watching something on TV, there may be a gay couple and like the rest of the family completely like lock up, and it becomes a very kind of awkward environment to be in. So I can really relate to what you're saying.
It's so many conflicts at once that created so much tension and really, really negatively impacted my mental health. I'm so lucky to be out now, but it's about when you're in that situation, how can I find ways to make life more manageable, to have an easier time, assuming that time is going to be temporary?
You know, it's one of those things where in whatever environment it can still be a struggle. And as you say, it's that importance of finding the positive and finding places of support, ways to make the best of the situation.
In that case, for me at least, I found when I was at my worst, it was about actually creating that positive for myself rather than like looking for it where it didn't really exist at the time. Like, okay, if it seems like nothing's going on here that I really like, okay, I'm gonna buy a new video game, or I'm gonna make some music, I'm gonna write a song, I'm gonna do something to just get my head out of the hole that I was in.
I think you're so right with the creative outlet, especially. Like, I especially found like the creative pursuits, whatever is your vibe, like even if it's like making a cake, like it's different for everyone, but having that kind of thing where whatever else is going on, you can say, well, I've made something, so something good has come out of whatever my situation is.
It's true.
I think that's a real way that you can create a positive.
Of course.
One of the main things that I've just accepted is that I'm not going to be fine with it, and I'm not going to be okay all the time. You know, if I ever have like a dip in my mood, it's something that can freak me out because I'm thinking, is this going to lead to me going down a really bad spiral of bad mental health? But actually, right now I'm saying, well, this is a really difficult situation. obviously I'm not going to feel happy because I can't do all the things that make me really happy right now. It's okay to be not very happy all the time. It's also important in those moments where you're thinking, okay, I'm a bit down, to reach out to someone, because I think this is where it's tempting for me right now to just be like, oh, I'm feeling sad. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to like curl up in my room and not see anyone and but actually that for me makes it worse. So for me, it's just like that reaching out, especially when I'm not feeling well, like good.
I think for me, I was diagnosed with like a disorder known as depersonalization derealization maybe like 7 years ago. At my lowest, I was cooped up at home for like 3 or 4 months. I didn't leave the house. So I like developed like almost like a fear of going outside. And so a big issue for me was thinking that I'm going to start getting, you know, my mental health issues back up again, you know, it's going to get worse, you know. So what I started to do was first and foremost, I set myself a routine. So every day waking up at a specific time, going to sleep at a specific time, you know.
I think that's a really great point that for a lot of people staying inside can be associated with like a bad mental health episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me as well. I think when I was hearing you're going to have to stay inside all the time, that's linked in my head to being depressed.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, is that it's counterbalancing that with positivity, things that can make me feel good and make me feel healthy and happy.
Mm-hmm.
So that balance as well.
You're listening to Just Like Us, the monthly show for LGBT young people.
Just Like Us has a really good campaign going at the moment. The hashtag JLU at home is being used for all of our isolation-themed content. There's sort of quizzes on the Instagram, recommendations of things that you can watch, things that you can listen to, people sharing their experiences and stories. Like, my favourite thing is the little quizzes, to be honest, because like I always get the answers wrong.
Same.
But, like...
I get so frustrated.
We have some well-being tips from ambassadors, and it might be nice to just pick a couple of those out and share the thoughts of our fellow co-hosts and producers here at the JLU podcast. I really like Rowan's one that just says, a nurse once told me to write down the things I want to do after all of this is over, like cuddling my guinea pigs. I think that's a fantastic one.
That is very cute.
Yeah, and Rowan has been regularly sending me WhatsApp pictures and videos of his guinea pigs.
That's the content we need.
At least once per day, and that is something also that's on the Just Like Us at Home hashtag. There's been a lot of volunteers submitting pictures of their pets. If you are into cute dog of the day, cute cat of the day, I think there was a gecko. It's worth taking a look for the animals.
Very true.
When in doubt, animal pictures.
I mean, one of these tips that I think is really great is the one from Bronwyn as well, just saying there are loads of Facebook groups for LGBT plus people that can make you feel connected to the community when you're isolated. And I definitely think this was something that helped me while I was still in the closet, was that I made different accounts and I would go on social media under kind of a different name so that, or, you know, in a different account that like people I wasn't out to weren't involved in. But I kind of used that as a space where I was like, I can go on and then look at LGBT plus content and engage with things and comment on things and just like see what's out there. And like there's a lot out there once you start looking, and it's really great. So I think that's definitely a great way that you can feel connected.
I really liked Finley's approach as well about journaling. It can like really help to process the feelings that you have. And also, like, obviously I studied history as well, so I feel like we're in like a time capsule. We're literally in the moment of like history. So in a couple of years time, people will be looking at this time. So journaling, like literally writing down your feelings, you know, what's happening. Even like photography, like whenever I go Asda, I see it as like a, you know, photograph opportunity now. Like hopefully in the future, because we will get out of this, to look back at those photographs and my journals and be like, wow, like we actually went through this. This was actually a thing.
I love that.
I saw this meme the other day that was like, you know, the Bernie Sanders meme where he says, I am once again, and then it's like blank and you fill in the blank. And it was, I am once again going to the big Sainsbury's just to feel something.
Literally. I never thought Asda
It's very much the mood right now.
You're listening to Just Like Us, the monthly show for LGBT young people.
Hey, so it's Ellie here, and I'm here to introduce a new segment for the podcast called the Just Like Us Choice segment. In this segment, we're going to highlight a TV show, an album, a book, a film, an article, a podcast, some kind of something that is related to the LGBT plus community and that we think is worth you guys checking out. This month, I'm going to recommend the huge RuPaul's Drag Race. A lot of you will have already heard of this. Maybe you're already watching it, but if you don't know, it's a show about drag queens, and they have a competition to see who's the best drag queen, basically. I think it's a great series. It's really lighthearted and cheerful, which is something I think we all need right now. It features lots of LGBT plus cultural references and in-jokes, which is really great if you're feeling kind of a separation from LGBT plus stuff right now. I always find it nice to be back surrounded by some LGBT stuff. My favourite queens this season are Jackie Cox, Widow Von Du, and Heidi N Closet. Some people might disagree with me, but like I'd love to see those guys at the top in the final. We'll see. No spoilers, but a slight spoiler here that in the latest episode, the queen Gigi Good revealed that she is gender fluid and did a really good explanation of how that manifested in her early years and how it feels to her now, how she relates to that identity, and really just was a great example on TV of an identity which we don't often hear about, gender fluid. It also showcased that her parents were great role models of how to be a good ally. They really let her be herself. They weren't judgmental of how she was, especially as a child, and you can just see like she's a really confident, successful person now, and I think it really just shows the benefits of being supported by really great allies in your life. I hope that we can all feel that experience, perhaps even if it isn't from our parents, from friends, from online sources, from mentors, whoever it is. That's just a great thing for me. So overall, it's a great series. Yas, queen! I really don't think I can pull that off. I can't get away with that. Enjoy.
You're listening to Just Like Us, the monthly show for LGBT young people.
Well, before we clean up and pack up shop, if we all had to give a little final goodbye, what would you say?
I'd say, guys, we're going to get through this. It's going to be okay, and we're going to be stronger because of it. And the very British saying of keep calm and carry on.
I would say do something silly and fun to pass the time, and don't forget to wash your hands.
I think I would say take care of yourself and give each other 2 meter distance high fives.
Yes, let's do that to ourselves now.
Obviously, there's
I know
no
you can't hear
sound
us.
happening. There's no. Let's try and clap at the same
let's
time.
Clap.
3, 2, 1.
I don't think that was at the
Toby,
same
you
time.
That was awful.
Look, we are gay disasters. That is who we are.
Well, have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast.
Have a good month, everybody.
Bye, guys.
You've been listening to Just Like Us, the monthly show for LGBT young people. The music was by Twisterium. We come into schools too. Young people, teachers and parents can find us at www.justlikeus.org.